Develop and market the world's leading personalized mobility app. That is the objective of the recent agreement between SBB and Lucerne-based startup Axon Vibe. We find out all about it on Tech Talk. Thank you for joining us. Tell me about this agreement. So it's actually 5 years down the road. Signed this week, but in 5 years we'll see the outcome.
No, you won't see the outcome in 5 years, hopefully. We're going to be live with the first preview of our mobility app in December this year. What we have signed with Axon Vibe is a cooperation agreement for the next 5 years because we think we need this time to really build and sustain to have the best product. It needs some time. But we will really be live this year in December with a preview. But we will develop and improve the product with our customers the next year.
Okay. And how much say will SBB have in this development? How much input will you be giving Axon Vibe as they develop the technology?
We have a lot of input, we have a lot of experience. We have, I would say, the world-leading public transport system. We have a lot of experience in, for example, disruption management, in customer information, but also in developing mobility apps, as we can see with our SBB Mobile, our the leading mobility app in Switzerland. So it's really working together closely as a team, get the best of each other, and so we are convinced that we can really build a product that convinces our customers, but is also a potential to lead the world of mobility.
Now, why did you go with Axon Vibe?
We have carefully selected Axon Vibe. There are a lot of companies out in the market that currently build or want to build mobility apps, mobility platforms. What we think is really key in the future is the differentiation in personalization. So it gets so complex with all the different means of transport, but every person is so individual that personalization is such a key success factor that leads us to Axon Vibe. The company is really strong in that area, in the smart travel assistance. And last but not least, it's a Swiss company. We work together closely every day, and it really fits very well. We have the same values, the same ideas, the same goals, and I think in the end that's true for success, or the key for success.
Earlier you mentioned that you already have the leading mobility app in Switzerland, this SBB app. What is going to be that much different? I mean, do we need a new app?
We don't need a new app as SBB, but I think in the future we will need new feature in our app. It has to be more personalized, as I said. We can be better in personal information. We can also be better in integrating other means of transport to make access to trains easier, and that will be different. We also will have a different approach in the cities. It's more, we call it here and now. So you don't need to plan like with a schedule from A to B, but you can spontaneously go out of a building, look at your map, and you see what kind of means of transport are available and directly book it through our app. So that will be different from the current app that is the first screen everyone knows, our touch screen from A to B. That we're going to change, or we try to change, and we're going to better understand whether customers understand that and they appreciate it, or we will stay. So it's really a test version. We want to test new features, new experiences with our clients, and then see what works, and then integrate this to our app that is already very successful.
An important question for all users of the mobility app is, will it cost me more money?
No, it will not cost you more money, not at all. It should really make your life easier, especially today. Many of the users will have different mobility apps on your smartphone, one for car sharing, one for bike sharing, one for the e-scooters, one for trains, and we want to integrate this all, and it will not cost more money. We will have exactly the same price schemes as all the offers or the transport providers have.
It's also no secret that SBB has been struggling with some punctuality and scheduling issues in the last few months, especially in Western Switzerland with the trains running late. Is this going to help with the lateness of the trains and to help them be more punctual?
No, the app itself will not help our development to this itself, but we work as SBB a lot, and it's clearly our focus to improve punctuality, also safety, efficiency. But what we really hope is to help the clients, the customers, the travelers. So when we give you very personal information, for example, a train is delayed and you sit in this train, we give you a personalized alert, and that shows you your alternatives. And an alternative could be instead of taking a train, taking an e-scooter or take a car sharing, and you can basically directly book this through our app. So it really gives the client more option in case this happens.
And then you are head of Swiss Smart Mobility. So tell me, what role in general has digitalization played in the last, let's say, handful of years here at SBB?
It has played a very important role. First of all, digitalization helps us a lot to improve punctuality, to improve safety, efficiency. For example, you can see then in the digital day here in the station in Zurich how it helps to improve or how we work in maintenance, for example. But then, of course, in customer touch point, we see a sharp increase in people who are buying tickets online or mobile this time. We are over 50% by now. So it really transformed not only the way we work, but also our clients.
That was my question. Have you seen it reflected in revenue growth and rider increase or in satisfaction in general? And you say yes.
Yes, we see a sharp increase, ticket sales online and mobile, especially there, but also like the information, for example, if there is a disruption, clients tend to look on their smartphone instead what you hear through the trains. So it's getting really more and more important, and that's why we also have this big focus.
In the end, it's about the future of mobility, which is one of the themes that SBB will be showcasing at this year's Digital Day 2019. For in your opinion, what does the future of train travel look like?
I think train travel won't look that different from today. What will be different, I'm convinced that it's the way you travel to the station, for example. There's a lot of micro-mobility going on, but I think especially in long distance train travel, it will be the same, but we work to make it more comfortable for travelers, for example, that you can also reserve a seat, that you can travel more in not rush hour times. You want to show incentives, but also show that it's really better, you have time to work. So I think we work on it together, but also the client, it will flatten out a little bit the rush hour subject, but traveling in trains, when you're in a train, I think it's not that different from today, but the way you come to the station will be different.
Will it bring down the ticket prices at any point of train travel?
I think the ticket prices is also a question of how big the offer is. It's not directly linked to the way or how you travel, but what the offer the government, the state wants in the train system.
Thank you very much, Ladina. It was a pleasure. Now go catch your train.
Thank you.
And now it's time to hear from the other partner in the agreement, Lucerne-based startup Axon Vibe. So Roman, we call Axon Vibe a startup, but in fact you lead over 100 people in 5 different properties all over the world.
Yeah, that's very right. So, I mean, it depends how you define startup. If you define it from a burn rate of money, then we are a startup. If you define it from a spirit kind of point about the processes, we are a startup too. If you define it regarding number of employees and all the processes like HR and all the kind of stuff, we are not a startup anymore. So we are somewhere between. In between.
So the company itself has been established for about 5 years, correct? But in fact, this technology has been cooking for a long time, back to early 2000s.
Yeah, that's very right. So our former company, Axon, has been sold to Google in 2006, building a part of Google Maps or the navigation system for cars nowadays. Then we decided to make a more modern version. Started to think about how we can bring that to the market through to public transport operators. We got fascinated by autonomous vehicle services, e-scooters and all that kind of stuff, and we thought it's a good idea to bring that into one application, and that's what we do.
And Google isn't working on an update, on a better version of Google Maps?
Google is working on it. We know that for sure. I think there are other partners like, competitors like Uber, Lyft, Didi in China and all the kind of stuff. It's a huge race in the area of mobility, because I think all of those companies, they do understand that mobility becomes a major driver of a new ecosystem. And therefore there's a lot of investment money going in. There's a lot of competition in the market, and I think we do have a unique position because we have chosen our approach to work together with public transport operators, and we do treat privacy in a totally different way.
Talk to me about this. What's different about the way you treat privacy? It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. So, I mean, we are forced to that, but we love it as well as a Swiss-based company, you know. So, in fact, what we fundamentally believe is that the data that we collect has to stay in the control of the users and not going back to the large corporate. So the user has to decide what we're going to do with the data. They have to have the full control. We should make everything transparent. What we do with the data, we're asking for opt-in, so-called consent every single time when we do something special with the data. And I think that's just the world how it should work from a Western point of view. You know, and dealing with governmental or organizations close to the governments like the Swiss Federal Railways here or MTA New York or whatever, you know. I think that's the only way how you can make modern technology, how you can use AI to improve the passenger's life.
Now, the technology that you are basing this new app on still uses Google Maps. So you guys are still, in fact, customers of Google. Is there any data transfer of data issue there?
No, it's not. So, of course, I mean, Google Maps, we have been super proud to develop a part of it. We are still proud of that. I think it's one of the best mapping technology around the globe, has a lot of information, has a lot of advantages, and we love to use that at the moment. I mean, maybe in the future there are other things of that. Having said that, we build a kind of additional layers on top of that, making the app of the public transport operators a bit more useful, a bit more tailor-made to the passenger or to the individual itself, and that's what we do. So therefore, everything which is mapping and car navigation, we use the best, and then on top of that, we build an additional layer to improve the rest of it.
So in this new app that you were talking about, what am I going to see differently than what I'm seeing already? Well, first of all, on Google Maps, you were bringing up the fact that, you know, the public transport, you will do something else. I already get public transport on Google Maps. I even get bicycle trails. What is going to be different about this new app that you're doing with SBB? What are you going to provide me that I'm not already getting?
You will get something pretty similar, I guess, but coming from a public transport operators, coming from the government, and I think that makes a difference. And I think privacy is a big topic too, you know. So from a service kind of level, we are on some parts better than Google, on some parts weaker than Google. Of course, we just try to combine the best of those worlds for the customer itself. What I think we are slightly better right now than many other apps is that we understand the customers much better than those apps do, and that means we can come up with a personalized information tailor-made to you. You know, saying, your train is leaving right now. We have better information about congestions in public transport, telling you, hey, stay at home today because it's a whole mess out in the network, or this train will be cancelled. Please move on earlier or later. You know, all the kind of stuff that will be in the app. And I think another major feature is, compared to the already existing app of SBB, that the already existing app is mainly for planning long-distance journeys, you know, whereas in cities like Zurich here, there is a totally different behavior. Normally people tend not to plan. They know how to move from A to B because they are super familiar with their areas. So that means it's more a question a bit, what kind of service is available right now? Is there an e-scooter just around the corner? When is the next bus leaving in that kind of direction and all the kind of stuff? So we mix it, we call it the here and now, which is representing the available service right now. Then we use AI to predict what you're going to do next, so you don't have to look up schedules, you know. And in the last one, you can still plan it.
So you will include things aside from just the trains. Are you going to bring in the tram services and the buses and, like you said, the e-scooters and such? So
I mean, in Switzerland, that's super cool because public transport is looked at as one big mode of transport, so to speak. You know, what we are going to add right now in cooperation with SB is the other kind of mobility services. So you will be able to book a e-scooter through to Swiss Pass, through to the credit card that you stored at SBB. You know, so you have one account, a super seamless user experience. You just hit the button, you can open the e-scooter with Swiss Pass and all the kind of stuff. So we try to make mobility as comfortable as possible. And I think that's the big advantage. And using the user reach of SBB, that's insane.
That was my next question, is all of these services going to be funneled into the Swiss Pass that we already have, and you're saying yes?
Yeah, so it's the plan is that the new app that comes out uses Swiss Pass as an account as an account system, and that's it.
And for tram tickets and such, will I be able to use in the future my Swiss Pass?
I think we will come up with a ticketing solution quite comparable to Easy right now in SBB Mobile, and you check in, you move around, and then you get the mobility invoice at the end of the day. That's one vision that we have.
All right, quite the vision, quite the goal. Roman, what is the price tag of said vision? What kind of investment are we talking about? Can you put a number on it?
So we don't disclose numbers, but I mean, for Axon Vibe, it's just great to work with SBB in that kind of matter. It helps us a lot in the international market, from a reputation point of view, and it's also super cool for us to test that in our home base in Switzerland, where we have one of the best public transport operating systems.
Definitely a good place to pilot, and as the former owner of IKEA used to say, if it works in Switzerland, it'll work anywhere.
Yeah, that's what they in New York say as well.
All right, last question then, Roman. What for you does the future of mobility look like?
I'm not in a position to predict that. I just have one big wish, and that's the key word for the future of mobility is sharing. Because only if we start to share cars and not only using one car for one person, then we can fight against the congestion challenges, the infrastructure challenges that we see in large cities. And the second thing that is for sure is that mobility will drive an ecosystem. I mean, you see it right now here at train station of Zurich. It's the biggest shopping mall in Switzerland.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.